December 31st, 2020, the day after the most incredible unification and celebration of live professional wrestling since I last can remember. You all know what that means in general. This is AEWSPARK's 2020 Afterthoughts as we are about to send off this year with a bang as we finally have come to a wild end of a year that will go down in history for a number of reasons. And we're here to simply celebrate it, Brody Lee, and AEW. Hello, everybody. Good evening to you all. My name is Noah Foster. I am a simple man, a lifelong fan of wrestling. And with me tonight, I gathered my other horsemen of Team All Elite, and we're here to send you off in style as we celebrate AEW and the life of a fallen father, great-hearted man, and great professional wrestler. Before we get right into the discussion, allow me, of course, to introduce you to the panel. We got the good doctor, of course, bringing you all the positive hits and tips that you need to take care of yourself mentally, spiritually, and healthy. It's, of course, Dr. Brad Campbell, reuniting with us after a long time, training Mark the Griff in other ways than one. And, of course, he's a great friend and a great influence himself. It's, of course, the Enforcer Chase Hogenson. And, of course, aspiring, young, happy, grateful, and overall just well-rounded person and fellow fan of AEW. It is, of course, my good friend, Tim Tobin. Gentlemen, how are you? Welcome to the end of 2020. Dr. Brad, I will start with you.
So tonight we're gonna party like it's 1999. Not really, but we're gonna be excited like we were as wrestling fans in '99. Except 2020, we're excited about All Elite Wrestling, not the Attitude Era, the Monday Night Wars. But it's been a great time to be a wrestling fan. And there's a lot of great things to talk about tonight. So we're definitely going to be going out in style. So, yeah, that's how it's going to be.
Well said. Well said. Chase, like I said, man, it's been a while. You've been taking care of yourself and you've been keeping in touch with us. You lead by example, and it's great to have you once again on Spark. How you doing, bro? And what you looking forward to in 2021?
Oh, absolutely. Never been better, actually. Things are going good. Life's good, just happy to be alive. Going to kick off a new year. Hopefully we're going to kick it off with a bang. We'll see how that goes. But thanks for having me, Noah. It's always a pleasure to chat with you guys.
Anytime, man. That's what I just wanted to bring to this forum. I just wanted to spark, no pun intended, a conversation with great wrestling fans in a way that we all can just appreciate one another for our opinions and be optimistic for the future as well. Speaking of which, Tim, welcome back, man. We made it through 2020. You looking forward to next year, and how you doing?
Good, I think so. Like, Brad, I think we're gonna go for New Day Rocks. So like, New Day Rock in WWE, but like,
I'm not playing a trumpet.
Huh? But
all right.
Like, we're gonna go the bang, like more like people from like, debut and stuff, like newcomers, like to the main roster.
Yeah,
and maybe Rio and people will come back.
Yeah, and I mean, there's been a ton that's happened this year. So with that, let's just go right into the discussion. Again, this is a celebration of AEW. But before we get into acknowledging the past, we definitely have to give appreciation just for life itself. As good old JR says, tomorrow is never guaranteed. In a year where we have been rattled with corruption, controversy, anger, disappointment, exposure, and so many more negative things that have separated us, not only among the wrestling community, but among humanity, there was a period where I felt like just for 2 hours, the world came together under one thing, and that is unity, as we celebrated life and professional wrestling. Because recently we had probably the hardest loss to close our year in one John Hebert, aka Luke Harper, aka the exalted one, Brody Lee. So last night, AEW pushed everything New Year's wise, literally to the next year, to give a celebration to this family man, this hardworking wrestling man, and overall just conscious, well-rounded, good human being, kind-hearted man. Tears were shed across the board. There were moments galore, tributes, celebration, acknowledgement, and the ultimate in appreciation in what was his legacy. That was, of course, his family and his TNT championship run. Now, we can go through this show if you want, bit by bit, match by match. You can talk about your favorite tribute. You can talk about maybe your favorite moments that you remember from this man and how the impact of him, not only as a wrestler, but a father, could mean to you. Now, again, I'm single. I'm not a family guy. I have my mother. I'm her son. I'm not married. But if I can lead by example, if I were to breed another generation for my family, I would definitely want to lead the example that Brody Lee left his. So with that being said, I just want to go around and briefly acknowledge what happened last night. And I just want to get your overall thoughts, presentation, match-wise, anything that's on your mind. And Chase, I will start with you. Give me your thoughts on last night's Brody Lee tributes.
Well, I thought they did most excellent job. And, as far as just keeping it respectful, paying tribute at the same time, and as well as still doing wrestling. I mean, that's a lot of stuff to juggle. Some of the things that stuck out, obviously, I think one of my favorite personally was the fact where the gear that Archer wore. I thought that was pretty cool as a special, because that's, it's not only going, just the short time we were with AEW, but that's going overall. When he came out with that gear, that's one thing that touched me personally. And then, of course, Eric Redbeard coming out. I think that's what he's doing.
All right. I think that's fair. And yeah, I mean, Luke Harper literally channeled by everybody, not just in the Dark Order, who were definitely the mostly stirred. We saw in the entire night in all their matches. But Luke Harper coming out old school, Lance Archer coming out old school, Luke Harper, not only from the WWE days, but literally the independent scene, as we literally learned from Eddie Kingston, for example. He celebrated this man who, when nobody else had faith in him, Brody Lee did in their last match back in Chicago, which my friend Devontae shared on Twitter. If y'all want a link to that, appreciate you, bro. But yeah, definitely Lance Archer's tribute to Brody Lee. It hit me hard. The fact that he used Evil Udo and Stu Grayson as weapons, similar to the way that Luke Harper used Eric Rowan to just put somebody over, press slam. That match was really unique in a number of ways, of course, as it was Eddie Kingston and his family taking on Evil Uno, Stu Grayson, the original two of the Dark Order, and their partner, Lance Archer, with Jake the Snake in their corner. Ali, of course, was in the family's corner, hey, Ali, but she did not get involved at all in this match. Eddie Kingston, real talk, kept it short, sweet, and simple. He literally said, Brody Lee, this one's for you, man. You guys are going to get your ass kicked. I feel like here there was a match of 3 matches, and it really worked out great in an all-out brawl affair. We had Lance Archer really slugging it out with a butcher. You had Eddie Kingston and literally Evil Uno challenging each other at one point, to the point that Eddie Kingston was trying to hit him with the kitchen sink. That spinning back elbow strike couldn't do it, and Evil Uno dropped him with a right. And then you have these two, I feel like, underappreciated, maybe under like studies really of this division in AEW's roster in general, in the Blade and Stu Grayson, that really tore it down. In the end, though, the Dark Order and Lance Archer, they did get the win with, of course, fatality on the Blade. Ali did not get involved at all. And then afterwards, Eddie Kingston got his ass kicked by everybody. And freaking Jake the Snake Roberts does a short arm clothesline. He's the freaking innovator of that move that became a staple for many people, including Brody Lee. I was like, what the hell? But yeah, overall, that match was just a lot of fun. There were so many different shades of just appreciation to what Brody Lee, Luke Harper offered. All 6 of these men, honestly, some more than others. Particularly, I feel like Eddie Kingston and Luke Harper and Jake the Snake Roberts. But I really enjoyed it, and I'm glad you acknowledged that. Tim, give me some of your thoughts and moments from last night's Brody Lee tribute.
Probably one of the best matches was the last one, what Vance and Cody and Orange Cassidy giving tribute, especially with the Vance giving tribute to Brody Lee's son with the mask and everything. So it's like Vance is like a big guy, a Dark Order, but he's like be good. Like he's been stepping up with the Dark Order and like the way he's acting. So
I mean, it was Preston and Powerhouse Williams Hobbs' first time in the main event scene, really trying to show us what AEW is trying to do. They are trying to push and elevate the future. And of course, it was -1, like you said, Brody Lee Jr., aka Brody Lee's son, who literally booked this match. And I might add, Tony Khan and AEW signed him to a contract and also crowned him the TNT champion forever, in the legacy of that TNT championship. And again, it was his favorite wrestlers, Orange Cassidy, Cody, and Preston. Of all people, Preston. You can only imagine how much of an impact that had on Preston to know that this little kid believes in him so much, just like his father did. And apparently it was told to me that Brody Lee Jr. was wearing Preston's original mask. Because as you know, Preston now wears the white and purple mask. Beforehand, he had the dark mask. So again, it was a very touching moment. In the end, Preston, despite the fact there was some subtle teasers of the Nightmare Family Dark Order still begrudging there through Cody and his storytelling, Cody did give the hot tag to Preston, who got the win in the end for the team and the pinfall victory. While Orange Cassidy, of all people, that we think's like always is whatever, he is emotional too, and he broke down in tears. It meant a lot, I'm sure, to Brody Lee Jr. and more so to Preston. So I'm glad that you subtly acknowledged that match. All right, Dr. Brad, that leads me to you. Take me through one of your like matches or moments or just overall thoughts of the Brody Lee Tribulation.
So the match that I think of the most from last night was Hangman Adam Page along with Alex Reynolds and John Silver taking on the members of the Inner Circle. There were just so many great moments in that match. I thought Hangman had great chemistry with Silver and Reynolds. MJF just played totally badass heel. Seeing him get hit with a kendo stick, just kind of out of his seat. But I'll tell you the real defining moment in that match for me was the fact that John Silver got the win with that lariat, Brody's finishing move, and got the pin. I think that was. It was overall a very, emotional night in general, but that right there, the end of that match and just, the outpouring at the end, that I think was really the highest point emotionally in just terms of, just being a real tearjerker, just really getting to you. And I also thought it was a great moment for Silver, having him be, kind of the butt of so many jokes on BTE. You see him lose a lot of matches on Dark, and now you see him get this great victory, see what he can really do in the ring. But I think what really adds overall to the presentation of what AEW did is you got to go back and think about all the people who passed away in 2020. And, for me, there's been a lot of significant deaths and outside of wrestling. We lost Sean Connery, the first James Bond. That was a big loss for me. We lost Eddie Van Halen, who, is one of the greatest guitar players of all time. I'm a big music guy. But you look at their deaths, you look at how the media, how they handled those deaths. They talked about how great they were in their mediums and what they did and their legacy. And we know that what they did was amazing and that they're going to be, etched in history forever. But you look at what AEW did is they not only recognized the talent that Brody Lee had, but that night was about honoring him as a man and as a human being, as a person. And it was a show that inspired you to want to do better, not just for yourself, but for your family. And that's what we're missing in society. And AEW just truly got to the heart of the matter.
I don't think anything else needs to be said as far as what that episode defined, yet hit it out of the ballpark, my friend. Yeah, and you could tell when I was looking at the way this was going throughout the entire night as the Dark Order came out united in every one of their entrances, the most stirred were definitely John Silver and Anna Jay. God bless Anna Jay. Yeesh, man. But John Silver literally coming out in mini Brody Lee attire, personally given to him by Brody Lee, and then literally encompassing all the Brody Lee Classic stables from the stands to getting the win with a discus clothesline, and then breaking down as he embraced his brother Alex Reynolds. And then, of course, the shocker of the night, I think, for all of us, Bludgeon brother, Wyatt family member, brother of down the road at all times, Eric Redbeard, Eric Rowan, showed up to friggin' neutralize the threat that was Wardlow, and it allowed, of course, the Dark Order and friggin' John Silver to get the win. And then Eric Rowan comes out afterwards. I'm just calling him that through it. Eric Redberg comes out afterwards to embrace them, but then holds a sign that is a tagline to what Brodie always said: "See you later, brother. See you down the road." I'm not gonna lie, that was the first time that's really got me, and honestly, that was probably my second favorite moment of the night. Also, the fact MJF still staying pure character. I'm not sure what's more ridiculous: the fact that he tried to basically insult and assault a child mentally and verbally, or the fact that he's trying to represent "I'm proud and powerful" with his tights. Worst tights design I have ever seen in my life. What the bloody hell was that? Cultural insensitivity? Some people would say yes, but some people I know, including NYC Diva Devin, and of course my friend Cindy G, they just laughed it off. But I was like, my eyes! Freaking gift from SpongeBob. I was blinded by that. But yeah, he ripped the kid's mask off, and then, oh, well, he definitely was not going to take that line down. Just whacks MJF with a candlestick. MJF just falls flat. It's like he's dead the rest of the match. I also want to solely acknowledge the fact that throughout the entire night, Chris Jericho was on commentary. He literally shared the stories and the moments, and honestly, the history of how these matches and connectivity work together with the Dark Order and the AEW roster throughout the night. So great moments, gentlemen. I'm just going to briefly sum up the rest here because, again, we could be here all night, but I feel like everybody got out what they needed last night, but hopefully it is not forgotten. It is carried on, and we lead by example, as you subtly put it. The opening match, of course, was, Colt Cabana and the Young Bucks taking on the Party Hardy. It looks like Matt Hardy is trying to guide Private Party in a way that suits him, that they don't want to go. Costing the match at the end, of course, as Colt Cabana got the win with the Superman, also was barely able to hold it together. There was also multiple tributes throughout the night. We've had exclusives outside AEW Dynamite as well. We've heard from Darby Allin, Bryce Remsburg, John Moxley kicked us off after a 10-bell swoop with the entire AEW roster, including kayfabe be dead here, folks. Sean Spears in a suit, Miro broken down, by the way, and freaking Kenny Omega. And everybody else, including Fred Independent Times, will be involved on Dark, including Ashley Vox from Impact Wrestling, aka the Sea Stars. That entire roster, with, of course, center at the helm was Tony Khan, Cody, and, of course, Brody Lee's family, his wife, and his two kids, including who's now known as -1, Brody Lee Jr., in a mini suit and mask, of all things. Anyway, as the first match got underway, and of course that nods to history, Young Bucks and Cabana have had on the independent scene as Jericho put over. Really good back and forth match, but you gotta wonder at this point, is Matt Hardy going back to that big money thing and feeling like he needs to be the guy? Is he iconic? And if Pryor doesn't follow his example, he turned on them and invest in some of their team. Just some subtle storytelling I was getting from that match. And then, of course, we got the Acclaim, who literally tried to ruin the night, which, of course, set up the 8-man tag. And that was the end of that. And then, like I said, there were tribute pairs galore that not only showcased the wrestler, but the father and the human being that broke down everybody, I'm sure, during each one. As the show continued, as we subtly put, we talked about the Lance Archer and Evil Stu Grayson match, and how that really was a great tribute as they took on the family and was a great physical brawl. And of course, Eddie Kingston trying to stay in character, but real talk, you know how much Brody Lee met him when he talked later. And then moving on from there was more, there was words from one half of FTR, and Bryce Remsburg, literally from one father to another, broke down as he talked about the impact that Brody Lee had on him to be a better father and a better family man. He feels like Brody should be in a Mount Rushmore of fathers in wrestling. I could not agree anymore. Darby Allin, of course, talking about he was the one man he wanted to wrestle because Brody Lee was not in it for himself, take a spot. He was there to elevate everybody else. And it showed, of course, with who, of course, he worked with, which, of course, leads me, I believe, to the women's tag match where these young two promising females in Anna Jay and Ty Conti, they tagged together to take on your girl, the good Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, with Rebel, not Reba. And of course, her partner, super bad girl, Penelope Ford. The biggest thing I saw in this match, though, was just Anna Jay and how much she felt like she needed to truly hold up to what Brody Lee saw in her. Because again, Brody Lee was the one that solely sought out to recruit her to the Dark Order. You could tell how emotionally driven she was by this. She had 99 painted underneath, like literally her right eye, and she broke down almost halfway through the match. In the end, she did get the win in the match for her team, for Brody Lee, for the Dark Order, who went, I might add, undefeated the whole night. Congratulations to them, well-deserved. And she got the win, of course, with the Clean Slayer, topping out Penelope Ford, which, of course, was, again, she embraced her friend Taikaji. I like the fact that her entire just mutual friends out there for one up for each other. It's not like she's trying to be Dark Order as well or recruit her for the Dark Order. Everything, as far as storyline goes, mostly 98% of that stuff, it was all put to the side. As they push back New Year's Smash to the first Wednesday next year, 2021, for Dynamite, and then the second one called a New Year's Mash, which is going to have every crazy thing under the sun. I can't wait for that, as they subtly acknowledge that. Also, Chris Jericho, he will continue to be on commentary, so get ready for more of that. And then, of course, we had more tributes and just acknowledgement to Brody Lee, including Wardlow, who exposed the business. When Mr. Brody Lee beat Cody for that TNT title, we had that angle where the Nightmare family were destroyed by everybody. Wardlow was waiting in Cody's locker room backstage, where Cody and Brody Lee came back, and Brody Lee simply said, "Thank you for giving me the highest point in my career." Now, I don't know about you all, but that says something right there, because he truly did go out on the highest of highs you could as a professional wrestler who loved this business so much in that entire storyline with Cody, which of course led us to our main event, as we talked about. But afterwards, of course, there was Darby Allin, who came out with Brody Lee paint over his face, and then Sting also came out too. Same entrance. I think there's going to be a connection more than we think. Hook with a suplex. What the hell? Is he becoming a wrestler already? Well, apparently, been next super scene, but trained by his father, Taz. But that wasn't what was mattered here. That was just further storytelling. But the real thing here was the end, as Cody came out to try and manifest what he wanted to say regarding this man and what they were going to do for his family. He literally introduces -1, who is escorted by his wife, Preston, and of course, their other son, and Tony Khan. Yes, Tony Khan on Dynamite TV. Let me just say that again. Tony Khan on Dynamite TV literally showed up and presented the original TNT Championship to -1, forever the TNT champion. And they retired that particular belt because of Brody Lee and the legacy he left with it, as they left Brody Lee's boots and bandana in the middle of the ring, and then sent us off with pretty much the thing that broke down the rest of the community. That last tribute that not only showed the wrestler, the father, but the friend to everybody, including WWE superstars. And they went off the air. If there's one thing I could say about 2020, in every bad thing that happened, the ultimate combination of what is good and what should be good going forward and what you should try and do going forward, that is what AEW tried to push last night. It's not a war. It's not about ratings. It's not about rankings. There are no winners. There are no losers. There sure as hell ain't no betters. At the end of the day, we're all human and we're all just fans. So I simply say to you, not just you three, but everybody out there who dares to watch this, and I don't care if I get 100 or 10 views, freaking just enjoy life and appreciate and enjoy wrestling. My God in heaven, I have not been emotionally stirred or want to push change so much as a wrestling fan since probably Eddie Guerrero's passing. And that show last night, with all due respect, it topped it. Because this company, not even 2 years in existence, they took a chance, pushed everything back originally planned to simply do this. Not for money, not for business, not for ratings, but for acknowledgement and friendship and empowerment. That's not professional wrestling. That is a community coming together as one. Simple as that. Okay, I think I got everything else I needed out. So unless anyone else has any last thoughts regarding what AEW did last night, any tributes they saw or anything lasting on their minds, I will leave the floor open to any of you to say anything else that's on your mind right now.
Cheers, Brody.
Enough said.
Cheers, Brody. This bud's for you.
All right, Pete Brody Lee. And by the way, if y'all haven't already, and I did, again, folks, if you want to help support the family, literally they made a tribute shirt to Mr. Brody Lee, and apparently it crashed the website. It's the fastest selling t-shirt within 24 hours on Pro Wrestling Tees. All proceeds of that shirt being bought go straight to Brody Lee's family. So again, absolute beautiful thing. As Jericho said, they are in extremely good hands. By the way, Jericho, bringing up a story from Country Redacted. Of all things, just showcasing Brody Lee for his intelligence and camaraderie. I mean, enough said. And the thing, this was the guy that debuted the same night, the first pandemic show of AEW Dynamite, the same night as Matt Hardy, who was originally supposed to debut in Rochester, New York. That building would have lost its freaking foundation. But I'm just happy that he was able to go out truly where he deserved to be. A top guy in a wrestling company, simply out there for everybody else. And that's his legacy that he left at the end of the day. All right. So with that being said, thank you, AEW, for the incredible tribute. God bless you, Brody Lee, and your family. I'm very curious now what the new TNT title is going to look like. And going forward, what will the wrestling community do and react as a fan of wrestling? Because as far as I'm concerned, if I see any tweet that has ratings of wrestling the same sense, I'm blocking your ass, period. All right, so we talked about emotional growth, investment, and empowerment. And again, God bless the Dark Order. I wish nothing but the best for all of them. Let's go ahead and briefly talk about what we think is next for the Dark Order. And I will start with you, Tim. They no longer have the Exalted One as their leader. The Dark Order, though, was an original project by Evil Uno and Stu Grayson. For the longest time, it was unable to get itself off its feet. Brody Lee helped elevate that identity and that group, including, of course, recruiting Anna Jay, who, in my opinion, is the brightest young breakout star in professional wrestling in a long time. Literally just over 1 year of professional wrestling career. And literally now she's a professional wrestler on a multi-billion-dollar company on live TV. That is unbelievable. But I simply ask you this, Tim. Where does the Dark Order go from here? Do they need a new leader? Or do you think they should change their identity? Or do you simply think they should continue the way they are in just respect to what Brody Lee basically taught them? Lead by example. Give me your thoughts on the Dark Order's future in your opinion.
So right now, I don't think they need a new leader because it's almost the end of the year. So like maybe in the future, maybe Lance Archer, one of the superstars, will step up to be a leader, like Adam Page, to be a leader of Dark Order, or Evil Uno will be the main leader. Even though they're giving tribute to Brody Lee, like maybe the Evil Uno will follow in Brody Lee's steps and bring Dark Order as a community together, like recruit people, like.
So you're thinking the Dark Order should go face, and maybe him and Adam Page leads them by example. Well, here's the thing. Shout out to Jeff Meacham Network. The Dark Order is not even going to be involved in the next 2 weeks of Dynamite. As far as I'm concerned, those recruitment storylines, they have been dropped completely, I feel like, with Dustin and Adam Page. At this point, I feel like that's a good idea because right now, the Dark Order, they need a new start. They need a refresh. They need to rebuild themselves, not just emotionally, but also from a character standpoint. It's going to be hard to figure out what they need to do from here, but if it comes to Tony Khan and long-term booking and the creative minds you have there, I think they can pull it off. And I'm just curious. So let's go ahead and see what's on your mind, Dr. Brad. What do you think is next for the Dark Order? And if you were part of like a booking team, like what would you maybe suggest?
There's a lot of potential there. I mean, it's despite the fact that we've got such a huge loss with Mr. Brody Lee. The Dark Order's really kind of evolved in a way. In the absence of Brody Lee, if you go back watching those recent BTE segments, they really kind of came together as a collective unit, just kind of like a little gang or like a fraternity, whatever you want to refer to it as. But you saw more of a presence just from more of the guys. So couple different aspects you can do. I almost see the Dark Order being led by John Silver. And the reason why I say that is because he has really become a breakout star on BTE. He's absolutely hilarious. He's incredible in the ring. He's very, very strong for a guy his size. I think that he's really benefited the most, upcoming in the Dark Order. And if he doesn't lead, I could see him co-leading with like Alex Reynolds and or Anna Jay. The other thought process is you go to make an analogy here, you go and it's almost like you're trying to find a new singer of your band. Going back to the late 70s, early 80s when AC/DC lost Bon Scott, then they find Brian Johnson. If they could find someone with that similar type of chemistry, yet have their own identity, but still feel like the Dark Order, bring in like this new guy to be a new leader. I would love to see that. Almost like a Dark Order Mark II, so to say. But those are my thoughts on what we should do, or what I'd like to see AEW do with future of the Dark Order.
I've been saying it for the longest time. I would love to see like Anna Jay like lead Stu Grayson on a singles career, and I would like to see like John Silver maybe become like an impromptu type leader. If not, he was already like a hype man when, like you said, in Brody Lee's absence. By the way, kudos to AEW, who apparently knew this for over 2 months, kept it completely private. Only a few people knew. They respected the family's wishes. That is something really incredible, and that just shows how much respect everybody had there for Mr. Brody Lee. Chase, I now give the floor to you. I mean, Stu Grayson, he's a hot kid. We've seen some teas of him and Evil Uno. They almost had a fall. I'm pretty sure that got dropped altogether. We've seen how far Anna Jay has come, and honestly, she might be the most dangerous member of the Dark Order according to BTE, because not even Stu Grayson could overcome her. But then John Silver, he's Mr. Hype Man. He's Mr. Jack, but literally he was a mini Mr. Brody Lee. Do you think John Silver should be like an impromptu leader, second in command? Should there be some sort of ranking system like that? What do you suggest maybe happens with the Dark Order going forward? What do you want to see?
Well, first off, I liked a lot of Doc's points there. So they have evolved and they've grown so much, especially Doc, especially if you watch BT. And even at first I was like, everybody's talking about the Silver guy and how he's hilarious. I wasn't really watching too much BTE. And it took a week or two, but that guy's hilarious.
Yeah.
So, going forward, one way or another, what we got to do, I mean, the first thing I would do is I'd have him disappear for a little while. And I'm talking wrestling time, a while can be like a month, maybe 2.
Mm-hmm.
But can you imagine the pop they get when they come back out of nowhere? Join the Dark Order, whether it be to save somebody or what it be, keep them off TV for a little while and then bring them back with a hot pop. And from there, probably John Silver. I mean, the guy's getting over. You look all over the internet, everybody loves this guy and he's hilarious. He's great in the ring. He's strong. Why not give him the shot? The second coming, Dark Order.
Dark Order, the second coming, having an AEW Revolution where the Exalted was supposed to be Christopher Daniels, but also Colt Cabana. He also debuted. So I like that a lot. And again, Revolution, it kind of plays for the purpose of the name. The Dark Order evolves. So I appreciate all your points there, guys, and you definitely have some strong foundations. I feel the bottom line is this. If nothing else, last night proved how strong the Dark Order is. And honestly, Dark Order is probably one of the biggest things to come out of 2020, if not the most popular, thanks to Mr. Brody Lee. So I think the future is in very good hands for all of them. I wish them all nothing but the best. But I agree, keep them off TV for a little while, not just these next 2 weeks during these Smash specials, New Year's, blah, 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 Snoop Dogg come in, blah, 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 championship matches, blah, blah, blah. But figure out, like teases maybe. I mean, maybe even leave them isolated on BTE or tease something there. Like maybe they all go their separate ways, try to find themselves and then come together. Then you try and redefine that somehow, like some weird like vignettes on Dynamite. But again, I'm just spitballing. But as far as BTE goes, I'm pretty sure it's still going to be the Dark Order. And again, it's all going to be in the name of this man. It would not surprise me, though, again, if we have like a picture of this man with some papers how can we forget, by the way, the freaking papers from the beginning of the match by John Silver, Alex Reynolds, and him and Adam Page during that 6-man, by the way. It's like, where are my papers? Well, we know where the papers are. That would be the greatest thing to see, just in their little area. Picture of Brody Lee, which is a stack of papers right there. Oh my gosh. And also we got the yeah. Also the night too. I did hear that selling out. Kudos to JR Stein with, of course, the additional phrase. It's Wednesday, you know what that means. The bottom line is this. Dark Order, they're going to continue doing what they're doing. I feel like they're going to stay united. They're only going to grow from here, numbers-wise, no pun intended. And I'm looking forward to what happens. And again, last night, 2 hours, nothing mattered but unification and celebration. And hopefully more of that message is played going forward, not just in humanity, but especially in the friggin' wrestling community. Simple as that. So as we close out 2020, that was literally the last diamond of the year, gentlemen. Again, with 2020 and the way it's been, I couldn't think of a more positive way to go out of this year. So let's go ahead and wrap up this part by briefly acknowledging our best favorite things from AEW. There's been incredible pay-per-view standard matches, debuts galore. There's been unique, one-of-a-kind segments that have been absolute show stealers that have redefined the industry. And there have been quality pay-per-views on their quarterly model, top to bottom. So I just want to get y'all solo simple thoughts on a few of these topics. And Chase, I'm going to start with you on this one. During this year, we had a new title come into play, the TNT Championship. And its inauguration definitely has stood the testament of time, especially with what they're doing with the current belt. So I'm going to straight up ask you this. What has been your favorite match of the TNT title's legacy so far? And what would you like to see become of the TNT title going forward in AEW?
Well, dang, that's a hard one. To put it down, there's so many good ones. But, first, coming to mind, have to be the dog collar, coming back at Cody. But the thing is, I really loved what he did with the belt, because when they're talking about, we had just one belt for a long time, just one belt. I forget, it felt like a long time. It might've been only 4 or 5 months, but for a long time we didn't have but the AEW championship.
Yep.
And then Cody kept saying, hey, we're going to bring in another one, but it's, it's not going to be a mid-card title. It's not a mid-card title. And it hasn't been, I love what he did with it. That would be the match that has to stick out. And as far as going forward, they just got to keep doing what they're doing. I mean, you got a few champions, which would be, Cody, Brody, and now Darby. And it's, honestly, it's probably in all of wrestling, not AEW. It's probably one of my top 2-3 favorite belts. Just hands down. So I'd say just keep doing what you're doing. You got Darby, and he's going up against Cage next, I believe. And that's another big match too. So I think they're doing the right thing. Just keep going forward with what they're doing with the TNT Championship.
Yeah. And the thing is, like you said, it's not mid-card title. It's not like it defines like a nation, or it's just, reduced to a certain class. Anybody can go after this title, and its identity defines you and what you represent. You represent AEW, you represent TNT, but you represent yourself too. It's not like this title forces you to change yourself. I mean, of all people, Darby Allin, who is the most original person to come out of the wrestling business lately, especially in AEW, top star nonetheless. People have been clamoring this guy to be a champion. Now he's finally got the TNT title. So I expect him to have a long reign with this, and I expect him to bring a certain identity as well. And the thing is, every champion has treated this title differently too. So I like what you said there. So well said regarding the TNT Championship. That wasn't the only thing, though, that defined this year. As, of course, literally this company who was just getting off its feet, they had to face a pandemic. And we all did. But you wonder, this company that was on the highest of highs, according to the wrestling community, that was putting it above an echelon of anything else we've ever seen in wrestling, could they survive the pandemic? I don't know about y'all, but I think hands down, they not only survived it, they surpassed our expectations, as they somehow kept us going with original content and programming every week, bringing in new talent, recruiting other talent, and redefining them as well. And again, it included the TNT Championship inauguration, but it also included a ton of debuts and also pay-per-views in front of nobody, but a constructed audience of the faces and heels talent, not just AEW talent either, but up and coming independent talent that we've now seen on Dark that becomes staples of AEW Dynamite. So, Dr. Brad, I will ask this question to you. In regards to AEW's 2020, we have had incredible moments, we have had upsets, and we have had unique encounters, especially during this pandemic side of wrestling. If you could pick one of the biggest moments to happen during the pandemic for AEW Dynamite that really helped the wrestling fans enjoy wrestling, what would it be?
I don't think you can really limit that to just one.
That's fair. But what's one of the moments you can think of? That's probably a better question because I know there's a plethora.
Well, I think if you're going to pick one moment, I think you have to go back to the beginning of the pandemic, and you have to go back to a promo that was cut in an empty arena with Cody Rhodes, Kenny Omega, and I think it was Hangman Adam Page. It was just the three of them standing in an arena, and they were talking about how a pandemic hit. There were dark times ahead. It was a really inspiring promo. I don't remember all that was said, but it was back in April at the very beginning of the pandemic. That I remember that because that set the tone of what was to come, that they were going to keep fighting. They were going to keep putting on a program, and they did. And you saw unique things week in and week out. I mean, BTE just kept rolling every Monday, and it kept us laughing. As all this craziness was going on in the world, you had little things to laugh at. Like you had Sammy Guevara coming out and singing Chris Jericho's theme song. You had MJF, betting money, at the side of the ring, on who's going to win what match. You just had so many debuts. You had the debut of Brody Lee. You had the debut of Matt Hardy. You have the debut of Sting in AEW. You have AEW in the partnership for just Impact Wrestling. You just have so many key moments and so many crazy things. You can't just limit it to one, but if I had to pick one, you have to really just go back to that first promo on Dynamite back in April with just those three men in an empty ring and cutting that promo. And they set the tone, and they lived up, and not only lived up to, but exceeded the expectations that they set for themselves.
Well said. Yeah, again, Cody, who said he never thought he knew how small his world could be, how empty it could be. But regardless, we have to keep going because I still can feel you, and we are here to bring you what you want, and that is professional wrestling. As Kenny Omega subtly says, let's start Dynamite, and they did not let up. And you could tell also, like last night even, where it was emotional, Chris Jericho trying to stay in character, like, it's Dynamite, baby, stay high. But even Jericho was breaking down on a commentary. But well said. And again, this pandemic, it just made so much depression seem to subside for wrestling fans when you look at what AEW did with the debuts and everything. I mean, Anna Jay, of course, who graced the scene of AEW April 1st taking on Hikaru Shida and then going on TV for about 2 months. Next thing you know, she's now the biggest, brightest star in the AEW women's division, young, up and coming, number 9 out of the Dark Order, recruited by Brody Lee. You had freaking Brian Cage come into play at a pay-per-view nonetheless. More managers. Vicky Guerrero. Good Lord almighty. Oh my gosh. That's just... Why did you do that? Ugh, my ears. All right, it's all good. It's all good. You had freaking Floyd the baseball bat. You had cameos from Shaq, from freaking Mike Tyson. You've had freaking FTR give us possibly our best tag team match of the year, if not the second best tag team match of the year, et cetera, et cetera. I could go on. Maybe I'll literally do like a post show where I just do an AEW retrospective on their entire 2020. But I digress. If y'all want to join me with that, up to the air, I'll let you know. But anyway, Tim, I pose this question now to you. In a year, we've only had 4 pay-per-views from this company: Revolution, Double or Nothing, All Out, Full Gear. Each one of these shows, people always complain about pay-per-views being $50. That's a ripoff, okay? But you figure about the amount of content and quality and quantity you got out of these shows that was balanced. Tim, I simply pose this question to you. What was your favorite AEW pay-per-view match of the year? Your mic's muted, by the way. There we go.
So is it between the Stampede match or the Mimosa battle match? Yeah, when Chris Jericho falls in Mimosa, it's like, but the Stampede match was like,
I'm also mayhem.
but Stampede match was incredible. You know, with the Ali, Mahadi, and all those people versus the Inner Circle. Yeah, run over a golf cart.
Yeah.
Was an incredible match with the Young Bucks and stuff, but there's better matches out there too for previews, you know. Like the one when the Casino Battle Royal with Darby Allin jumping off the ladder match off the ladder. That was a crazy move.
Yeah.
Too, so.
I thought Darby Allin broke his neck. All right, that's absolutely fair. And again, Stadium Stampede. Guys, I'll be honest with you. You know me. I'm simply a fan of wrestling. I don't watch sports. I don't watch football. If this is a match that happens at a football stadium, I will watch it every year. I will try to go to it at some point. This is the first time I've actually cared about something happening in a football stadium that wasn't necessarily wrestling, but it still was wrestling to be, because they literally used parts of a football stadium I didn't even know existed. The friggin' 100-yard Northern Light suplex on Sammy. Sammy, by the way, MVP of that match, taking the one-wing angel from heaven to hell and literally basically going all the way down the field. Just gonna get to break dance sprinklers. Oh my God, that match right there is a highlight reel in itself. All right. So as we look more towards what else AEW has given us, again, we've seen breakout talent, we've seen one-of-a-kind match encounters, we've seen superstars rise before our very eyes that are the future of the wrestling business, but not just on Dynamite, also on Dark. And again, they have become AEW talent because of it. So, Brad, I'm going to ask you this. AEW Dark, it has now been an outlet of opportunity and just positive wrestling, the length of a Monday Night Raw, to give so many young, up-and-coming, promising talent the chance to showcase what they can bring and possibly be all elite. We've already seen a few people sign from it, including most recently Top Flight and The Acclaim. And I'm not rapping. So I'm just going to simply ask you this. What has been some of your favorite standouts you have seen perform on AEW Dark?
Well, you know, I think that, you know, the Acclaimed is for sure one, and Top Flight. Those are just fantastic tag teams. You know, it's young talent. You know, they're already making the name for themselves. And even stepping into Dynamite, interacting with the Young Bucks and some of the other, you know, major tag teams that we have. But a big one for me, and you and I have talked about this on previous editions of Spark. Kylan King.
Yes,
she is just a fantastic worker. She is going to be such an asset to the women's division of AEW in the future. I love Kylan King. I also love her entrance music. It's really, really rocking. It's great. Love the guitar work. I mean, I just want to, you know, start, you know, doing this, you know, when she comes out. But you know, even prior to that, I'd have to say, and before she kind of disappeared for a little while, I really like watching Shauna. That was another talent in the women's division that I think's got a lot of potential. So I mean, I would say those are probably the main ones.
I like that a lot. I mean, I've been saying it all year about Dark. One person that I'm surprised has not gotten a win yet, but apparently there's been a crew by Nightmare Family. Big Shotty Lee Johnson. My God, this guy could go with anybody in the ring. And honestly, I still think my favorite match from Dark this year, even though he didn't sign with the company, was Lee Johnson versus Ben Carter. It was one of the longest matches on Dark that you truly thought could go either way or back and forth. And both men came out incredibly stronger in the end of it. But I have to agree with you also on my favorite woman wrestler I've seen up and rising. Whether she goes to AEW or not, she is going to be a trailblazer in women's wrestling, I feel like. And that is definitely from Painesville, Ohio, Queen of Crazy, Kylan King. I also got to give some props to who really has impressed me most recently, legit Layla Hirsch. She could be matched by Kurt Angle or Team Taz. People think she should join Team Taz. This girl can go. She is a little tough powerhouse. I can see her versus Jordan Grace potentially, with the fact that we literally had maybe chasing the world most recently. And again, I could go on about Dark, but that's not what this is about. But this does lead me to my next question. I will bring this to you, Chase. We are on the verge of maybe getting back to the days of territories. As AEW defines themselves as the most friendly company to work with, they are willing to work with everybody and anybody. They currently have partnerships with AAA, which of course Kenny Omega is still the Mega Championship, by the way, after a ridiculous match recently on Triple Mania, not to mention defending it earlier this year against Sammy Guevara. But we also, of course, have that partnership with OWE, where we're missing, of course, the Strong Hearts, where Sema, he, of course, leads his brothers as well, and they have had great matches with SCU and so much more, too. And yes, they are still part of the AEW Tag Team Division. But now we've had this foundation where NWA has gotten involved, and we literally have Thunder Rosa working in AEW with the women's division. Of course, going to soon take on Your Good Doctor. She better be ready for the damn fight of her life. And of course, we've had, of course, her defend the NWA Women's World Championship on AEW as well. The amount of just surprises that AEW has given us this year and the potential for who could show up in AEW ring to challenge somebody is ridiculous and limitless, no pun intended. But now we wonder who's going to make that next big impact. As Kenny Omega right now, he has drawn a line in the sand and invading Impact Wrestling to the point their first pay-per-view next year for Impact Wrestling, Hard to Kill, is main evented by the AEW World Champion with a reunification of old Bullet Club brothers and the Good Brothers, Don Callis become the Super Elite. But I'm just going to make this short, sweet, and simple to you. Next year in wrestling, AEW, it seems like they're trying to reach with everybody. Do you see them finally being able to form a connection with NJPW? And who do you see being the first Impact Wrestling talent to invade AEW?
Oh, that's a lot of good stuff there, and I love it. The connections. I mean, we're not only talking about NWA, AAA. I mean, Impact. NJPW and the Indies. Bringing in Indies like Cody was doing with the TNT Championship.
That's right.
Impact Wrestling. Probably Moose. I'd have to say, and I'm not super familiar with Impact because it's hard to find. My cable provider doesn't carry it. I had to YouTube it when Kenny Omega was going to go there. I watched Impact for a lot of years though, and I'm happy that AEW is working with them. I mean, I think it's going to be a good connection. They got a great history. So, I mean, I know Moose is big. He's a big guy there. As far as I know, he's one of their top.
Yeah, people call him an uncrowned Impact World Champion. So you definitely might be on something there. And Rich Swann and Moose, they have had their confrontations. But I think about Eddie Edwards and John Moxley maybe meeting face-to-face with Sami Callihan. Oh, good Lord, the death match that could ensue. I think about Jordan Grace or Deonna Purrazzo that could enhance the women's division because both companies have their strengths and weaknesses. And again, this whole idea of just working together with one another at times, it helps everybody. Impact Wrestling has a much more diverse and defined women's division versus AEW, who's finally bringing more attention to it, as Tony Khan admitted. He even admitted, my bad, it has been my mistake. We have not been putting enough attention to the AEW women's division, including our AEW women's champion, Hikaru Ishida. And of course, the biggest strength in AEW, probably the biggest strength across the wrestling industry, the strongest, most in-depth, defined tag team division in the world of professional wrestling. You add those tag teams to Impact Wrestling, where they got the Motor City Machine Guns and the North, potentially, if even Page is still there. And that's just going to elevate the tag team division across the entire wrestling scene. But I like what you did there about Moose, who's all about that one title he got out of a dumpster, calls it the title, and calls himself Mr. Impact, a legend, etc. He could definitely set a unique presence in AEW if he was to confront Kenny Omega, or even the TNT champion for that matter. So I like that a lot. All right. So Tim, I go to you now with this question. AEW has not only been about wrestling, it has been about unique and crazy moments. We've had stuff from a flim flam to a town meeting to a Broadway musical showcase. And I'm still going, what the hell? But I loved every minute of it. So looking back at this memorable year of featured presentations, let's call it, what was one of your non-wrestling unique segments that was been one of your favorite standouts this year for AEW?
I think when Elite brought the drone, yeah, when Chris Jericho's drone was like, go get the hounds, stuff it's like release the hounds on the drone. It's like, oh my gosh, yeah, that was like one of the best moments. Yeah, or just when the drone came off, it's like the best moments that AEW had, but not wrestling. So
Yeah, and then the drone got destroyed by the newest member of the Inner Circle, Floyd the baseball bat. But then the Stampede introduced Neo, the neuroelectronic organism. How the hell did Excalibur knew that? I digress. But that was definitely funny. How many dogs does Jericho own? Good Lord. Release the hounds with a bunch of tiny dogs. Good grief. All right. All right, good stuff. Okay, Dr. Brad, I'm going to come to you with this next one. We've already talked about an amount of breakout stars, but there was a dark day in one company that was beneficial for the entire industry. The release of multiple talents, and a lot of them, they showed up in AEW. In your opinion, what former WWE signed talent you think has had the strongest impression since their debut being a part of AEW, considering who has shown up and been signed?
You're talking former talent from any promotion, correct?
Pretty much. WWE probably is your primary because, again, how much of their friggin' talent got released? Like 50%, 25%?
Yeah.
Both men and women, I might add.
Yeah. You know, honestly, I mean, I know we touched on this already, but because he had his release a year ago, you know, December of last year. But honestly, I think if we're going to talk more recent, releases from previous companies, I think honestly, Brody Lee has had the best in recent memory. I mean, let's look at his last run, you know, being the leader of the Dark Order, you know, and I know we've talked about it quite a bit, but, you know, if you look at his previous run in WWE as Luke Harper and you see the type of character he played, you know, he was more of, you know, just, you know, a member of an organization, the Wyatt family, let's say. And he kind of went and did the bidding of Bray Wyatt. You know, he had some, you know, memorable things that he did. He had some really good matches, but I mean, he totally became who he was meant to be. And honestly, I don't think he really ever truly reached his full potential, but my God, when he went to AEW, he just totally eclipsed who he was previously. So I mean, I'm gonna go with Brody Lee, but overall, I know this isn't really a release from another company within the last year. But if you're going to talk about former talent from any company, John Moxley had a hell of a year in 2020.
Yeah, that's saying something.
I would say John Moxley was AEW's talent of the year. I mean, hell, the guy was #1 in PWI magazine. You know, you take that for what it's worth, but I mean, I'm a huge mark for John Moxley. I love Moxley. Insane talent. Incredible champion. Totally the right guy to take the title, you know, from Le Champion, Chris Jericho. I mean, 2020 was just a great year for Mox.
Yeah, in my opinion, it definitely was the year of John Moxley, but I like what you did there with Brody Lee. Again, one of my favorite matches this year, Brody Lee and Dustin Rhodes, and those two had one of the highest viewed matches ever. Dustin, of course, being 5 decades, in the business, truly can go with anybody. It feels like he never ages with how well he just brings himself to the freaking ring, whether it's a wrestling match or a fight or a barnhouse brawl or whatever, the bunkhouse match or whatever the hell you call that, but I digress. And by the way, Butcher and Blade definitely have been one of my standout breakout teams of this year. I love that duo. And seeing the Butcher in singles action just gets me nothing but excited. It's amazing how versatile and diverse AEW can make their talent in both singles and tag teams. To the point, we have developed so much now. We're getting trios titles soon, gentlemen. They're going to be a thing. With how many trios we got in AEW, this is the company that could pull off 6-man titles and make them mean something. In respect to Ring of Honor and New Japan Pro Wrestling, they do have those type of titles, but they don't get enough showcase, and I don't feel like there's enough competition for them. I feel AEW has enough of a trios roster to carry a trios division and make it their own. I truly do, and I can't wait to see what comes from that. So as we come to a close with this, yes, Brad, you have one flap.
Sorry, one more thing to add real quick, and I don't know why I didn't think about these guys. I guess because I just think about all the good they've done in AEW, but I got to give a major shout out to FTR. I mean, what a year it was for them also.
Yeah, PWI 50, #1, first ever PWI tag team list, I believe. They were the top team in the world. And again, they have won now the tag team titles across every freaking business except Impact Wrestling. Yeah. So we'll have to see now. Tully Blanchard, of course, is trying to get FTR back to those AEW Tag Team Champions. And again, when I look at the Full Gear Tag Team match and the AEW Revolution Tag Team match, I am literally this close with those two, but I still have to give it to Revolution as my match of the year. So I'm going to close us with one last question to you, Enforcer. Simply put, AEW, there has been people that have taken the ball, whether it's the opener, the middle, or the main event, whether it's singles or tags, rode with it, made it their own, made them be the one to talk about, made them be the most memorable, maybe had the strongest resume this year. In your opinion, who was your AEW Wrestler of the Year, and who do you see being the breakout star to come in 2021?
Well, Wrestler of the Year, Doc already touched on that. Mox, hands down. I mean, you can't argue with PWI, realistically. And the right place, the right time. Not to say Omega might not be the Wrestler of the Year next year. His title win was so close to the end. But he defended that title. I mean, we're talking Archer, we're talking Cage. You know, he fought Brody Lee. He had so many great title defenses and carried it for so long. And, you know, the full package. He's got the look. He's great on the mic. He can work the ring. Strut. Everybody loves a strut. You know, the guy's money. So he's my Wrestler of the Year. I'm going to have to go with who held the belt the longest. Absolutely. So, and now we're talking breakout star for next year. I'm going to have to go with my boy, Sammy Guevara. I think he had a little setback this year, a little bump in the road, no big deal. But the stuff he's doing, it's hilarious. You know, him singing, the matches he put on with, you know, like Jungle Boy or Darby, and basically being under the tutelage of Chris Jericho for an entire year.
Yeah, that's
gonna make him a breakout star. That's and I, you know, one time I laughed. You know, it might be frowned upon, but that time he had that cutout of Brandy when it was sitting ringside, and he kissed it, and that look. Remember the look from Brandy, and there was a lot of memes about it. You know, stuff like that. Some people might not think is funny. I do.
I'm laughing right now. What do you think I fought? Okay, and Brandy's face just in disgust. By the way, congrats again to Brandy and Cody, who will of course be having a child. So I imagine anything dealing with Brandy and wrestling will be on hold. I imagine with Velvet will be in her place. Well, that's been about an hour of spark and discussion, gentlemen. I think that this truly was the best way we possibly could have gone out as we reminisce the greatness that was All Elite Wrestling this year, that brought to us as wrestling fans all the positive, fun, hilarious, ridiculous, oh my God, moments to come out of it. Surprises, debuts, manager setups, and on galore too. But also, of course, the symbolism of a wrestling community being as one last night in a celebration of life and unity. I couldn't think of a better way to close 2020 with AEW and with all of you. Thank you so much for joining me on this fun, simple retrospective and afterthoughts of AEW 2020. Let's go ahead and roundabout talk about what we hope to see maybe next year, if any further thoughts come to mind, or y'all have any more questions for me. And let's go ahead and close this out. And I will, of course, start with you, Tim. Do you have any further thoughts regarding AEW this year? What you hope for next year? And with that being said, where can people connect with you to talk more wrestling?
So for my thoughts for next year, I think Brandon Cutler, they're gonna bring down right after Mirosa, after his win streak and Dark. I think his chance to get pushed to Mirosa when he's ready. I think so. Like he deserves. If Will Hobbs could go to Mirosa after when this match is Dark, why can't Brandon Cutler go to Mirosa? Will Hobbs could do it. So I think Brandon Cutler should be next guy to be caught up to Dynamite on the main show.
All
Just
right.
On a win streak of Doc. So I consider that a future fit that way.
Right. Fair enough. Well, we'll see if Brandon Cutler, he rolls the dice and hits the right numbers and makes his way on to Dynamite. Maybe he could become a TNT champion or even a challenger. We'll have to wait and see, but I'm optimistic for Brandon Cutler as much as you. So thank you for that thought. Where can people find to further talk about Brandon Cutler wrestling with you? Where can people connect with you?
So I'm part of We Were Wrestling with Sean Boley and Pro Wrestling Discussions. Also, I'm part of PWJ Junkies, so Pro Wrestling Junkies, where we have like Kenny Omega. We just had Kenny Omega, the cleaner, on the show and virtual interviews. We have in June we got Chris Statlander virtual Q&As on there. So different superstars, AEW superstars, TNA. So
All right. Cool stuff. Boop. I miss Chris Statlander, by the way. I'm just going to keep saying that right now. I want Chris Statlander back on my screen. I want Chris Statlander versus Genocide. There, I said it. Anyway, also shout out to fellow members of Team All Elite, Sean Bully, Shane Wells, who weren't able to make it tonight, but I wish you both a happy new year. And of course, leader, boss, creator, and founder of Team All Elite, Mark the Great Reviews. You rock, man. I look forward to predicting Wrestle Kingdom with you. I wish you were here tonight with us. Happy New Year to you and your family too. Deepest prayers and condolences as well to Mike, who's going through hard times with his family. I hope everything is okay with him as well. And everybody in Team All Elite. Gina, of course, facing a cold, but she's bold. She'll be fine. She'll be talking about people's bodies and ways in no time, I'm sure. So with that being said, just Happy New Year ahead of time to everyone in Team All Elite. Chase, again, man, it was a pleasure to close 2020 out with you on AEWSPARK. Any last thoughts you have regarding anything AEW, and where can people connect with you?
Well, thanks for having me, Noah. It's always a pleasure. So obviously Team All Elite, that's Facebook. You can also connect up with me, Wrestling Gamers on YouTube, F Bros Productions on YouTube. Any last thoughts? Well, one major question. I mean, this is the question of the century. I mean, we've gone through pandemics, we got new champions, we got new companies. There's so much going on. There's just one big question. I don't know what the hell the answer it is to. And that is, who can stop the Path of Cage?
Oh,
Right?
that is a good question. Although, you know.
And I got my Team Taz mask now, too. So maybe we'll find out next time.
You're trying to get the credit, Taz. You got somebody here that wants to put in their resume. Well, all I know is Taz gave the guy the FTW championship. He still has that championship. He potentially could have a second championship. But if anyone could stop the Path of Cage, it very well might be one Darby Allin, and it very well might not be by himself. Because I have a feeling that Team Taz is not going to be too far away from this up-and-coming TNT title match. Neither is one icon that we've seen recently talk about he's back in the jungle. Just saying. But again, I'll save all those thoughts for that episode of Dynamite, and we'll see soon enough. But thank you for that, man. Again, Happy New Year to you. I look forward to sparring again with you soon. Doc, always a pleasure, man. Any further thoughts and regarding AEW, and where can people connect with you?
Well, first of all, I just want to say that the bad news is I really don't know who can stop the Path of Cage. I really honestly have no idea. But the good news is I just saved a bunch of money in my car insurance by switching to Geico.
Well, Tony Schiavone will be mad at you because State Farm's the way to go, but I don't have a car. I don't judge.
I actually am a State Farm customer, but I just had to do that once. I love doing that randomly. But I guess, as we close the door on 2020, I guess the questions asked in 2021 as we peek into the new year are, will Kenny Omega have his what will be known as his legendary matches in AEW? Will he become the greatest AEW champion thus far in 2021? Will he have those 6-7 star matches this coming year? Will the Dark Order rise above, this tragedy and become better and stronger than ever? What will become of the women's division in AEW? Will Abaddon become the next AEW women's champion? and how much more insane and crazy can tag team wrestling at AEW get? Because what a year it's been for tag team wrestling in AEW for 2020. They've got the best tag team competition in the world right now, and it's only going to get better. As far as where you can hit me up, I am a member of Team All Elite. I'm also on the Team All Elite chat, so you can hit me up there. I'm also a member of Team WWE, another page with your boy Mark Reviews Griffith, my boy too, great guy. I'm also a member of a WWE Predictions League with Scott Cater, another fellow Team All Elite member. I'm also in a group called WWE Pick'em, which is another WWE Predictions League with some fraternity brothers I went to school with from college.
Nice.
Yeah, we do a lot of the predictions for the pay-per-views. You can find me on Facebook. You can now find me in Greenwood, Indiana, just getting to know the area. You can find me at karaoke bar, just rocking your face off, because that's what I do. You can also find me at Sun King Brewery, where I drink really good beer. You can find me at a coffee shop. You could find me at Hobby Lobby getting custom frames done on rock and roll posters of great shows I've been to. And you can also find me in this man cave as I'm putting together this monstrosity of what will one day be beautiful and not look like a freaking train wreck.
I've seen worse.
You'll find me here also. But above all else, you also find me once in a blue moon. I'm going to start doing it more, streaming on the Team All Elite page.
Yeah.
That's what I do.
We missed that. We missed that.
All right. Good deal, man. Good deal. Again, 2021. Hey, why not challenge yourself? Why not put yourself out there? Be you, connect with others. I get you too. And again, all I can say is I humbly thank you, man. And again, I look forward to sparking more with all of you and many more too come the next year. With that being said, folks, you want to know more about me, know this. I'm just a simple man and a lifelong fan of wrestling. So follow me on Twitter and Foster1916, Instagram and Foster1916, YouTube.com/C/NoFoster10 for all things wrestling. Shout out to my AEW family on Twitter. I'm part of Team NoDQ. I am the league coordinator, booker, and a contributor. So there will be leagues 2021 for the WWE pay-per-views. As always, I came in third place. Dang it, Caitlin and Sung. But I also will be hosting a league now for NJPW big event shows starting with Wrestle Kingdom and AEW for all 4 of their pay-per-views as well. And also Impact pay-per-views. So if you want more details on that, just follow me on Twitter. I'll be keeping you posted. Further content to come from me. I will be doing, of course, Wrestle Kingdom predictions, reviews, recaps in full, along with New Year's Dash on my YouTube channel with various guests potentially. We'll see what happens. And also, again, I work more with NoDQ. As always, folks, you know the drill. I'm just going to end it like this because I feel like this is better from now on. Just enjoy life and enjoy wrestling. Simple as that. With that being said, thank you all so much for 2020. And thank you all so much for tuning in to AEWSPARK. Please like, share, subscribe, comment, tell a friend. Hit the bell on the next video on this channel. Hit subscribe and help me keep growing this channel. Shout out to all 171 of you. This will be this fun YouTuber creator's journey. It's not laying up anytime soon. Going forward, I'm going to try and make all content live, including AEWSPARK. No promises, but we'll see what happens. There might be live like reactions to pay-per-views too. And of course, I'll be continuing my passion project with my boys from Ohio here called The Sauce Wrestling Show. Stay tuned for more of that. So for AEW and in memory of Brody Lee, this has been the AEWSPARK 2020 Afterthoughts special. I thank you all for tuning in. I thank you all for an incredible conclusion to this year. Thank you to my guests who with me on this wild ride and journey, and to just go out with a positive note on everything AEW gave us. There's no doubt AEW had so much more in store for us and the wrestling business industry in general. Who else is going to surprise us? Who else is going to rise? Who else is going to just leave us all in awe and surprise? We're just going to have to wait and see. But currently, it is 9 p.m. here Eastern Standard Time as we count down to the new year. So I think with that being said, gentlemen, ladies, fine viewers too, I will bid you all adieu. Until 2021 for the next edition of AEWSPARK. And if you want to be on, just message me on Twitter. I'd love to have you on. Gentlemen, goodbye. Mwah, and good night. Bang, and Happy New Year to you all.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Simple as that.